Yo, what's going on, man? This is your boy Super Mario, man. You're in the yo with your boy, man. Today we're going to be talking about gain structure with your favorite plugins inside Reason 12. Now, this is a particular process in the music production or audio mixing or audio production phase that a lot of people overlook. I mean, from the newbie, from the actual professional and stuff like that. And a lot of people will admit that because they think it's not important, but it is important. But it's kind of one of those things you need to have embedded into your mindset when it comes to mixing and mastering and producing and stuff like that, man. It's not something that you have to do, but if you do it, it will make your mixes sound a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? It'll put a lot of things in perspective when it comes to balance and amplitude for as volume is concerned with your tracks down the road when it comes to mixing and mastering and stuff like that. But it all starts when you start recording parts out. It all starts when you start recording on a mic like this, or you're working with your instruments and tone shaping and applying effects and stuff like that. If you find yourself always trying to turn down tracks, then guess what? You have a gain structure problem. But if you find yourself trying to turn up things and just get things to a point where they're at a median level, then you're probably doing something good. So let me show you what I'm talking about, man. Let's head over to Reason 12 and check out what gain structure it is, because there's a little part in Reason 12 that I think you're not watching that will help you out with gain structure. Let's go. All right, folks, we are here in Reason 12, man, and I already got everything queued up to show you guys about that gain structure here in Reason 12, or any DAW that will help you out for us understanding what gain structure can do for your sound at that, man. So on this orange track right here, I have a synth sound going, and I kind of want to, EQ some of that high mid to kind of bring out certain subtleties with the actual synth. So let me show you what I got going on, and then we're going to go ahead and pause it and show you what this gain structure feature or process is all about. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, so the orange is our sound, so let's go ahead and solo that. Now there's certain subtleties again in that sound I want to bring out, so let's go ahead and pop out the Focusrite Red 2 EQ. All right, and I want to kind of find where that certain parts in there. So what I'm just gonna do is a sweep. About right there. Bring out the Q a little bit. Bring back it to 0. Let my ears reset a little bit. Okay, I like that right there. Okay, now let's say I want to just bring out some of that low mids as well. Do the same process. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna stop it right there. Now, when you're doing EQing and boosting at the same time, you can notice that I have like give or take about 6 to 7 dB boost on this one frequency range. Okay, and then on the other frequency range, I have about 4 dB boost. So I'm looking at anywhere between 9 to 12 dB of boost in certain frequency ranges. And what I want you to pay attention to is what's going on right here. Right next to this this plugin screenshot is the effect device and its meter. Okay, now this meter is going to represent, the ins and the outs of the plugin, which meaning the signal that's coming into the plugin that's coming out. Now if you flip around on the back side of the rack of the effect device, you can see audio ins and audio outs are coming into the mixer channel via the insert effects ins and outs. Okay, you can actually analyze the input signal coming from the output of the plugin. Okay, so if we hit play again, you'll notice visually that we have more output signal than the incoming signal. So how would you make that adjustment? If your plugin has a output gain adjustment or knob or fader, whatever you want to call it, go ahead and make that change. All right, so we basically got to bring it kind of even with the input right here. So we got an output gain that we can adjust right here on the Focusrite to EQ. We'll bring that down just a little bit. About right there. Now you can see it's kind of almost even. I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit. All right. So now when you hit bypass on the insert effect, notice the amplitude difference. But notice your tonage and the changes that you made with the EQ. Check this out. Bypass. I'm gonna turn it back on. So you can hear there's more mid-range presence, but there's not a difference in amplitude. You have to start making gain structure. A lot of people, when they EQ, they're EQing, but they're not noticing or taking effect that, okay, well, let me bring back the original volume, the original gain, or the original amplitude. So this is what happens when you don't do that. You just want to make a subtle change in the mix. Now, what if I didn't make the adjustment on the output gain of that plugin? Well, this is what's going to happen right here. You notice the big amplitude difference? Now check this out. I'm going to bypass it. Now what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to turn down the fader, right? But you may have liked the volume where it was at before. So what you're doing is you're doing a lot of fader routing that's unnecessary, and you're overworking and you're messing up the workflow process. Okay. Gain structure is not about workflow process. It's about, making subtle differences and protecting your headroom in the long run when it comes down to, sub mixing, for as master buses and mastering and stuff like that. All right. So what needs to happen is if you do that, and let's say you have a plugin that does not have a output gain, for example. So we're going to pretend that this EQ does not have a adjustable output gain. All right. So this is what you can do. You can go and get a utility plugin that will adjust the output gain for you. Hence, I'm going to use this utility in Reasons called Regain Audio Gain Assistant. So check this out. So you see the ins and the outs. So basically what I could do is adjust the gain, let's say a dB and a half. Okay, still a little bit of output. Let's bring it down to 2. So that's -2 dB. Now look at this meter right here. This right here is going to be stagnant because we pretended that the Focusrite 2 EQ did not have an output gain. So it's going to be like this. So this is why Regain Audio Assistant has meters for you. So we kind of dip down right here. The output stage right here is a little bit below. So let's bring it back up to about a -1.5 dB. I could take the -1. So when we bypass, yeah, that'll work right there. When you turn it up now, check this out. So we still need to bring it down a little bit. So let's go to -3. -3, that's what it is. And the only reason why I could tell a good difference is because I kept my fader at unity gain, or wherever you have it at its original state. All right, so let's say, for instance, we want to go ahead and cut that device. We're going to bring back this up, and we're going to bring that down about 3 dB, okay? All right, cool deal. So we got that brought down a little bit. I'm bringing down a little bit more. Okay, so it's been brought down. Let's say, for instance, you want to add a compressor to this particular processing chain here. Okay, All right, so I found a compressor. This will be a really, really good, example. This is Purified Micro Limiter. It's on sale right now during the holiday sales. You can get it for $20, limited time. It's kind of like one of those emulated plugins. It's emulating a Alesis. I think it's the Nano Limiter or the Nano Compressor, but it's this small half rack size hardware compressor from Alesis. Back from the early, I think the early 80s or late 80s or 90s or somewhere around that time frame or whatnot. But it's a pretty cool little situation, man. The reason why I chose this particular compressor because of the low sound of that particular sound that we're affecting, we're gonna have to push a lot of input in there. Now, if you're the type of person that does not utilize gain structure and you don't know what this is, remember, this is going to be at 0. You just made your EQ changes. You added about 10 dB worth of, dB in certain frequency ranges. And you're going to have that lopsidedness when it comes to your output signal coming out of that plugin. Hence, pay attention to this. So that's your sound that you got right now, okay? So when you add a compressor on here, you already coming in hot. Check this out, man. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And let's say you have to compress the sound and you don't know nothing about compression. Check this out, what you're doing. You already driving, you trying to drive in more signal into the compressor just so it can start compressing. Because now it's super loud. Now you got some compression going on, but it ain't enough. You got to drive some more. Check this out. Okay, so you got that much compression. We just, just using this for example. You ain't got enough, okay? Now look at your output meter on your mixer channel. Now look at the signal coming in. You almost peaking in the red. You almost borderline messing up there. Now when you bypass the plug-in, okay, now you're trying to get a compressed signal, but you have to drive signal into the compressor in order for it to react and give you compression. Okay, so now what you have to do, you turned your fader all the way down when it really didn't have to. You could have kept it at unity gain. Why? You could keep it at unity gain because you can make the adjustment on the output. Yes, you can make that adjustment. So all you got to do is turn it down. Now, a lot of people will use their ears, but Reason makes it really available for you because you have these in and out put meters when it comes to the signal flow for the plugins. Check this out. So all we doing is adjusting the output so it can match this in and out right here. Now you can go ahead and backtrack. And if you forgot to turn down your output gain, turn it down right here. We're gonna go back to the compressor, turn it down a little bit more. Now check this out. When I bypass the entire insert effects chain, watch the difference. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. That's what I mean by, making sure that when you are driving signal into any plugin, first thing you need to be doing is looking for some type of output gain, auto gain function or whatnot. If it has auto gain, use it. Do what you got to do. But once you figure out your process and you do what you do on your plugin, use the auto gain function. If it doesn't, take advantage of your output gain function on your plugin, because that's going to, recalibrate the amplitude or the gain coming out of the plugin. So every plugin has some type of signal flow. Just to let you know, adjust your output gain so it sounds like it regularly sounds before you actually added whatever process it was on that particular plugin. That's why a lot of people bypass or AB plugins just to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, there's no added amplitude or added gain coming out of the plugin. And so, you know what I'm saying, you heard and you saw the example right there. Otherwise, you're going to have a hot signal and you're going to be turning down faders and doing all these fader gains and stuff like that, when you can kind of keep everything the same. So what that means is that when you're recording and you're just in the mood and you're just making all these tracks and you're going back and you're adding all these effects, what's going to happen is you're going to mess up the balance of the mix when it comes to the mix minus and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, you know, you already got a set tonality and a set volume balance, you know what I'm saying, with your tracks. But when you start adding those plugins, you got to start riding that fader. You kind of don't want to do that. You kind of want to insert your plugin, do what you got to do, you know what I'm saying, make the volume adjustment, add another plugin, affect that, and then make the volume adjustment on that. Now, let's say, for instance, this plugin, this compressor didn't have a output. Let's bring it back up. You heard that big volume difference, right? We're going to take it off of dim. Okay, we got a lot of volume. Right? So what we're going to do is utilize this utility. Again, regain from Lab 1 Recordings. This is a rack extension that I highly recommend anyone that uses Reason on a regular basis to utilize. We're going to go ahead and just turn this down big time, all right? Still kind of coming in hot. I think -9 is going to do it. Let's go ahead and bypass that insert effect chain. So this is the step process. So we went from -9 to -12. So there's kind of like no in between. Okay, that's one tool that you can use. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's a step process, but it's pretty good. Okay, another one that you can utilize is this plugin from Kilohertz, and it's called Gain. It's just Kilohertz Gain. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down real quick and pull that up. All right, so this is it right here, Kilohertz Gain. It's a real simple plugin. You turn it up or you turn it down, or you have a percentage that you want to turn up and turn down. We're going to keep it on dB view, and we're just going to turn it down. All right, we're going to go back up here. We're going to bypass the insert effects. Bring that back up. Almost there, so we need to bring it down a little bit more. That should have did it right there. Bring down about 13. That's it. So what we did was we went on ahead and used a different type of utility, which is a gain plugin, and that is Kilohertz Gain on this plugin right here. So we had to turn it down -13.28 dB in order for it to kind of make sense when you bypass it. So it was to come out of dim. And we just bypass it. Now, what that allows me to do is I could definitely turn this up if need be. And it matches the amplitude of the particular mix that we got going on right there, man. So that is right there controlling your gain structure with your favorite plugins in Reason 12 and in any DAW. You could take the steps that I did and to Ableton Live, Studio One, Fruity Loops, or Logic, whatever your DAW is, and utilize that process right there.